The first sign was not thunder nor storm. It was silence. For a full hour, the wind that had always whispered across Earth's cities went still. Seas froze in their rhythm, and every bird seemed to vanish into the void of the clouds. Then came the light. At 12:04 GMT, the skies ignited. Over every continent, the heavens bloomed with streaks of fire, dozens, then hundreds, then thousands, descending like molten rain. The world thought it was the end. Some prayed, some screamed, and some, like Commander Elias Wren, only clenched their fists and stared upward. From the balcony of the United Earth Defense Command Tower in Geneva, Elias watched the first of the alien ships breach the atmosphere. They were beautiful in a way that made his heart ache. Vast black spires of glass and silver, surrounded by a shimmering field that tore apart the clouds. They hung above Earth like judgment itself. "They've come," whispered Dr. Mara Lynn, the astrophysicist beside him. "Not for peace, I assume," Elias muttered. The alien fleet stretched from horizon to horizon. Each vessel was large enough to swallow a city, yet they moved with elegant silence, predators that needed no roar. Then the message came, transmitted through every frequency known to humankind. "This world belongs to the Order of Kareth. Surrender your dominion. You will serve, or you will vanish." The voice was neither male nor female, neither kind nor cruel. It was something older, something that did not consider humans as equals. Within minutes, panic consumed the world. Satellites went dark, power grids failed, and as nations struggled to contact one another, the first wave of the Kareth Armada descended. They struck from orbit, clean, surgical, merciless. Entire military bases vanished in flashes of blue light. Drones with liquid metal limbs fell through the clouds, scanning, marking, burning. Humanity's defenses shattered before most even understood what was happening. But in the heart of the storm, a spark survived. Commander Elias Wren had been many things. A soldier, a father, a man who had lost more wars than he'd won, but defeat was not something his blood allowed. He looked to the command screen as the first human counterattack failed. 50 jets gone in seconds. He didn't flinch. He simply said, "Prepare the arc batteries." Dr. Lin turned to him, pale. "You can't be serious. Those aren't ready. We either fight with what we have," Elias said quietly, "or we won't have anything left to fight for." Around the world, other leaders made the same decision. The arc batteries, relics of an experimental global defense network, came alive one by one. Buried under mountain ranges, hidden beneath ocean floors, they were never meant for use, only deterrence. But when the sky itself becomes your enemy, deterrence is no longer a word that matters, and so humanity answered. Across the night, the world blazed again, but this time, the light rose upward. Columns of plasma erupted from hidden silos, cutting through the clouds like the fury of gods. They tore into the descending armadas, ripping holes through alien shields that had never before been broken. For the first time, the invaders bled. The Kareth flagship trembled under human fire. Its surface cracked, its shields faltered, and deep, within that ancient ship for the first time in 1,000 conquests, the Kareth knew fear. "They resist," one of them hissed in their strange harmonic tongue. "Impossible," replied another. "Primitive worlds do not fight like this." But humanity was not primitive. Humanity was desperate, and desperation, as the universe would soon learn, is the oldest and most dangerous weapon of all. In the streets of Tokyo, children watched the burning sky with wide eyes. In New York, families gathered on rooftops, cheering when a flaming alien craft fell into the sea. In the frozen wastes of Siberia, soldiers sang old war songs as they loaded the last of their rockets. No longer running, no longer afraid. When night fell, the Earth was scarred but not broken. The alien fleet withdrew to orbit, their victory incomplete. And for a single breathless moment, humanity stood together. Commander Elias looked up from his command post, his voice quiet but fierce. "They think we're prey," he said. "Let's show them what happens when prey remembers its teeth." The stars above shimmered with the wrecks of fallen ships, burning like lanterns in the endless dark. It was the first day of war. It was the day the sky cried fire. And it was the day humanity stopped being small. The world had burned, but it had not fallen. In the days that followed the first assault, the sky hung gray with smoke and dust. The clouds glowed faintly orange, as if the fire of battle had stained them forever. The oceans were littered with debris, alien metal that hissed like it still remembered the stars. But humanity was still breathing. Commander Elias Wren stood on the balcony of the Geneva Defense Tower, watching the sunrise struggle through a horizon of ash. He hadn't slept in 2 days. The faces of the lost haunted him, pilots who never returned, soldiers who had held the line until the sky itself crushed them. Yet even in grief, there was pride. For the first time in recorded history, every nation on Earth had fought as one. Below him, the survivors worked in silence. Drones cleared rubble, medics moved through crowds, and citizens handed out food without waiting to be asked. No one complained. No one argued. It was as though the attack had stripped away everything but the will to endure. Dr. Mara Lynn approached, her white coat torn and marked with soot. Her eyes were tired but sharp. "We've finished scanning the debris," she said quietly. "You should see this." Inside the command chamber, screens flickered with streams of alien data, symbols that twisted and reformed like living script. Engineers tried to decode them, though even the most advanced translators struggled to keep up. Mara pointed to one display. "We found a survivor." Elias turned sharply. "A Kareth?" She nodded. "Barely alive. The crash site was near what used to be Oslo. It's different from the drones. Organic, intelligent. It's asking for something." Elias frowned. "What?" "It keeps repeating one word," Mara said softly. "Fear." The alien lay sealed behind reinforced glass in a containment cell. It was tall, almost luminous, its body made of translucent fibers that pulsed like veins of light. When it breathed, the air shimmered, bending faintly around it. Its eyes were black mirrors, reflecting everything and nothing at once. As Elias approached, the creature stirred. Its voice echoed, layered like a choir speaking through one throat. "Why do you resist?" it asked. "Your kind should kneel. All worlds kneel." Elias met its gaze without flinching. "Because this is our home." The alien tilted its head, as if tasting the words. "Home, a fragile thing. You burn your skies, poison your seas, and yet you call it yours." "We fight for it anyway," Elias said. "That's what you'll never understand." The Kareth's expression didn't change, but its lights dimmed slightly, as though the concept unsettled it. "Your fury is inefficient, your defiance uncostly, but it burns bright. We have not seen such fire since the ancient wars." Elias leaned closer, his voice a low promise. "Then you'll see plenty more before we're done." He turned to leave, but the alien's final words froze him in place. "You cannot win. The next wave comes soon. Your sun will dim beneath our fleet." Mara glanced at Elias, her face pale. "They're bringing more." He nodded slowly. "Then we need to be ready." The silence between battles is the hardest kind, the stillness where fear grows roots. Across the planet, cities became fortresses. Old factories roared back to life. Engineers built weapons out of scrap, out of ruins, out of anything that could burn. And amid the rebuilding came something else. Unity. Borders meant nothing now. Soldiers from once enemy nations fought shoulder to shoulder. Scientists who had once competed for grants now shared everything. Humanity, fractured for centuries, had found a single rhythm, the heartbeat of survival. In the deserts of Egypt, a group of young engineers repaired a fallen alien drone and learned to make it fly. In the mountains of Chile, miners found ways to extract alien alloys from crash sites. In orbit, damaged satellites blinked back to life, feeding the first fragments of alien code to Earth's hungry minds. They were learning. Fast. One night, as Elias stood before the flickering world map, Mara approached again. "I've been studying their ship cores," she said. "They're alive, not machines, living reactors. If we can understand them, we might turn their own power against them." Elias looked up at her, eyes heavy but steady. "Do it, whatever it takes." Outside, lightning rolled across the clouds, painting the sky a deep violet. Somewhere beyond the horizon, the Kareth Armadas regrouped, their pride wounded but their hunger intact. In their hollow ships, the alien commanders whispered in their harmonic voices. The humans burned the sky. "They are dangerous. Then we burn them faster." Yet even as they prepared for vengeance, something within them had begun to fracture, a faint echo of the fear their prisoner had spoken of. The silence between battles was ending, and deep in that silence, humanity's resolve began to sing. The world had no time to mourn. The scars of the first invasion were still fresh, the cities torn apart, the oceans bruised with smoke, and the stars above crowded with the silent promise of more war. Yet amid that ruin, something miraculous began to stir. Earth was becoming a forge. Across the continent, sparks of creation bloomed like wildfire. Laboratories once meant for research turned into workshops of defiance. Factories that had fallen silent decades ago roared back to life, their engines singing the new anthem of survival. And in every corner of the world, humans began to build. Dr. Mara Lynn walked through the heart of the Geneva Nexus, the underground complex where thousands worked without rest. Around her, engineers and scientists bent over glowing alien fragments, their faces lit by the pale shimmer of Kareth alloys. "We've learned to bond their metal with ours," said Dr. Reyes, a materials expert from Mexico City. "It heals itself when struck." "Almost alive," Mara nodded. "Almost isn't enough. We need weapons that think faster than they do." In another chamber, roboticists linked old Earth drones to captured alien processors. The machines began to move with eerie grace. Faster, smarter, deadlier. Soldiers trained alongside them, learning to command by thought rather than word. Humanity's weapons were no longer bound by what they had been, but by what they could become. Commander Elias Wren arrived later that evening, his uniform worn, his voice low but sharp. "Status?" Mara handed him a tablet. "We call them Tempest frames. Hybrid craft, half human, half Kareth design. Pilots can synchronize directly with the system's neural grid. It reacts before they do." Elias studied the schematics. Sleek metal forms glowing with veins of blue light shaped like birds of prey. Humanity had learned from its hunters and turned the lesson into vengeance. "When can they fly?" "A week, maybe less," Elias smiled faintly. "Then we'll give the sky back to its rightful owners." Outside the Nexus, the world pulsed with rebirth. Children planted crops on rooftops. Artists painted murals on shattered walls, depictions of stars, wings, and defiance. In the ruins of Paris, musicians gathered in candlelight, singing softly of the blue planet that refused to kneel. And everywhere, whispers spread of something greater, a new unity. They called themselves the Earthforge Coalition. Every nation, every language, every creed bound together under one symbol, a single flame enclosed in a ring of steel. The flame meant hope. The steel meant the will to defend it. Yet even as Earth forged itself anew, the shadows of the next war crept closer. Mara often found herself standing by the alien prisoner's cell, drawn to its quiet. The Kareth no longer spoke, but its eyes followed her, curious, unblinking. Sometimes she wondered if it understood what they were becoming. "You study us," she said one night, voice low. "Tell me, what do you see?" The alien's voice came soft, almost human now. "I see. Change. You take what is ours and make it your own. You burn and rebuild in the same breath. You are not efficient, but you are infinite." Mara's breath caught. "Then you know you can't win." "Perhaps," the Kareth murmured. "But the stars are wide and the order is many. When they come, they will not show mercy. Neither will we." When Elias learned of the aliens' warning, he summoned his commanders. Maps of the solar system glowed before them, and for the first time in history, Earth planned not how to defend, but how to strike back. "If they return," Elias said, his eyes cold as iron, "they won't find prey. They'll find predators." And so humanity prepared. In orbit, new stations began to rise, silent giants bristling with Tempest cannons. In the deserts, prototype engines roared to life, lifting the first human warships built from alien wreckage. They were ugly, imperfect, stitched together by desperation. But when the engines ignited, they sang the song of freedom. Dr. Lin watched the first launch from a cliff overlooking the Pacific. The ship climbed into the sky, trailing golden fire that lit the night like dawn reborn. For a moment she felt tears on her cheeks, not of grief but of wonder. "We were never meant to reach this far," she whispered. "No," said Elias beside her. "But they made the mistake of trying to stop us." In the quiet that followed, she looked at him and asked softly, "Do you ever think we'll see peace again?" Elias watched the stars blaze overhead, those same stars that had once sent monsters to take their home. "Peace isn't given," he said. "It's forged. And we're still in the fire." The next dawn rose over a changed world, a world united not by fear but by purpose, a world that had learned to fight, to build, to dream again. Earth had become a forge, and the forge was almost ready to strike. The second dawn was not gentle. It came with thunder that had no sound, light that carried no warmth. From beyond the edge of the moon, space itself seemed to ripple, like water disturbed by unseen hands. And then the darkness broke. They returned. The Kareth Second Armada descended in silence, millions of ships, their hulls glowing with the cold light of dying stars. Each vessel was larger than cities, pulsing with ancient power. They moved not with engines, but with purpose, an endless tide that darkened half the sky. From orbit, Earth was no longer blue. It was shadowed in silver and black. Commander Elias Wren stood aboard the human flagship Vigilant Flame, orbiting high above the planet. Around him, hundreds of hybrid warships formed the Earthforge fleet, born from the wreckage of the first invasion, built by desperate hands and burning hope. Through the view glass, Elias watched the alien armada spread across the void. For a long moment, neither side fired. The silence stretched like the breath before a storm. Dr. Marlin's voice came through the comms. "Telemetry confirms it, Elias. It's not just one fleet, there are 4. The Kareth are surrounding us." "Then they'll find out what that means," he said quietly. The bridge crew worked in wordless rhythm. Humans and AI alike moved as one, their hearts steady, their fear buried beneath duty. The hum of reactors filled the air like a heartbeat. Elias opened the global channel. To every pilot, every soldier, every soul who still calls this world home, they have come again. But we are not who we were. They took our skies once. We took them back. Today we show the stars that humanity does not bow. Today we make them remember us. The answer came not in words, but in light. From Earth's surface, thousands of Tempest frames launched into the upper atmosphere. From the oceans, hidden silos opened, firing waves of plasma that streaked through the dark. From orbit, the Earthforge fleet moved as one, engines flaring, shields blooming with color. And when the first Kareth volley came, a wall of blue fire that could melt mountains, the humans did not retreat. They charged. The heavens erupted. It was no longer a battle. It was creation and destruction intertwined. Ships clashed like titans in the void, their explosions painting the darkness in brief, brilliant flowers of light. The Tempest frames moved with impossible speed, darting between beams of energy, slicing through alien hulls with precision born of fury. In one corner of the chaos, Dr. Lin guided the fleet's defense grids from the command hub beneath Geneva. Her hands trembled as she linked systems together, her mind half human, half machine, calculating faster than she thought possible. "Redirect the polar shields," she commanded. "Route arc battery fire to orbital axis Delta 7. Keep the line stable, don't let them breach the exosphere." And they didn't. Not yet. In orbit, Elias's ship took a direct hit. The bridge shook. Metal screamed. Sparks cascaded from the ceiling. A young lieutenant shouted, "Shields at 20%. Elias gripped the command rail. "Hold position. Aim for their command spire." The Vigilant Flame's cannons roared, a storm of fire that pierced the blackness. The beam tore through one of the massive Kareth dreadnoughts, splitting it open like glass under pressure. It exploded silently, an entire city of alien power breaking apart into nothingness. For a heartbeat, humanity cheered. Then the Kareth retaliated. From their central vessel, a construct the size of a continent, Streams of dark energy lashed outward, bending gravity, crushing anything in its path. Entire wings of the Earthforge fleet vanished. Dozens of human ships winked out in flashes of fire. Elias's voice stayed calm. All units scatter and reform on Vector 12. Do not lose formation. Remember what you fight for. Down on Earth, billions watched through trembling broadcasts. Some wept, some prayed, but none turned away. In Tokyo, crowds gathered around the giant screens, shouting the names of pilots they'd never met. In Nairobi, children painted the human fleet across city walls, their colors bright against the gray ruins. In Buenos Aires, old veterans stood shoulder to shoulder, saluting the burning sky. The war was everywhere, and every heart on Earth beat as one. Back aboard the Vigilant Flame, Mara's voice broke through the static. Elias, we found it. Their core frequency. If we synchronize our ships to it, we can overload their shield matrix. How long? 2 minutes. Maybe less before they notice. That's all I need, he said. He turned to his crew. All power to the main array. If this works, it'll burn us too, but it'll burn them first. The Vigilant Flame's engines howled as the ship accelerated straight toward the Kareth command vessel. Hulls cracked. Consoles flared. Yet no one moved to stop him. They all knew what was at stake. Mara's voice trembled in his earpiece. Elias, if you push any harder, you won't make it out. I know. The human flagship broke through a storm of alien fire, its armor glowing white-hot. For a brief moment, Elias saw the heart of the enemy fleet, a pulsing sphere of light, alive, ancient, and terrified. He smiled. For Earth, he whispered. He fired. The explosion was silent, but its light turned the night into day. For 5 whole seconds, every screen on Earth went white. The shockwave rolled across orbit, tearing through alien formations, shattering the command vessel into drifting fragments. When the glare faded, the stars were littered with the remains of Kareth ships, and the Vigilant Flame was gone. Dr. Lin stood frozen at her console, her reflection trembling in the glass. Elias, she whispered. Silence filled the channel. Only static answered, but even in that silence, something new stirred. The Kareth fleet was breaking, leaderless, confused, frightened. The Earthforge fleet, bloodied but unbroken, began to press forward once more. From the depths of loss came humanity's greatest roar. And as the fires of the Second Dawn faded, the universe finally understood. Earth was not a world that surrendered. It was a world that forged ghosts from those who tried. The stars were quiet again, but silence did not mean peace. The battle had ended 3 days ago, though no one could say for sure how long the fighting had lasted. Time itself had blurred, measured only in explosions, screams, and the pulse of fire across the heavens. Now the Earth turned beneath a sky littered with wreckage, glowing fragments of alien ships that fell like slow rain, burning until they became dust. In the aftermath, the world did not cheer. It listened, every ear strained for a voice that never came. Commander Elias Wren, the man who had led them through the storm, was gone. Dr. Mara Lin sat in the dim light of the Geneva Command Center, staring at the static-filled feed from orbit. Her hands trembled over the console, though she didn't notice. Around her, exhausted engineers whispered, typed, repaired. The hum of life went on, but for Mara, the world had narrowed to a single silence. He knew, she murmured. He knew he wouldn't come back. Lieutenant Arjun Hale, one of Elias's officers, stood beside her. His uniform was torn, his face streaked with ash, but his eyes still burned with purpose. He didn't go to die, Arjun said softly. He went to finish the fight. Mara looked at him, eyes glistening. Then why does it feel like he took the stars with him? Outside, the world was rebuilding again. Cities buried under rubble began to stir. From New Delhi to Reykjavik, survivors gathered in the open, lighting candles in the night. Each candle was a name, and the names went on without end. But the light spread, shimmering like constellations on the surface of the earth. It was Elias who had taught them this. That light was not the absence of darkness, it was the defiance of it. As the morning deepened, a strange thing began to happen. The captured fragments of Kareth technology, those ghostly shards that still hummed with alien energy, started to emit faint signals. Not words, not data, just a pulse, a rhythm, almost human. Dr. Lin noticed it first. She leaned over her console, isolating the frequency. That can't be right, she whispered. It's syncing with our systems. Arjun frowned. What is it? Mara's voice shook. It's his signal. Elias's command key. It's embedded in the debris field. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then the room came alive. Screens flared to life, code raced across displays, and technicians scrambled to trace the coordinates. The signal was weak, flickering like a voice caught in a storm, but it was real. Arjun grinned despite himself. He's out there. Or what's left of him, Mara said, but hope cracked through her voice like sunlight through clouds. They worked through the night. Power surged through the nexus, drawing energy from every available source. The data was fragmented, encrypted in layers that seemed almost alive, each pulse carrying pieces of a message. When they finally decrypted the first fragment, the room fell silent. If you're hearing this, Elias's voice said, faint and distorted, then the flame still burns. I'm not gone, not yet. The Kareth's core didn't die, it folded space around itself. I'm inside it, Mara's breath caught. The others stared in disbelief. He's trapped, she whispered, trapped inside their core dimension. Elias's message continued, crackling with interference. They're not gods. They bleed, they break, and they fear us now. But their hive still waits beyond the veil. If we don't finish this, they'll come again. Stronger, smarter, you have to find me. You have to find them. Then the signal faded. No one spoke for a long moment. Finally, Arjun straightened, his voice steady. We can find him. We have his frequency. We just need a ship that can cross the fold. Mara nodded slowly. Then we build one. From that moment, the Earthforge Coalition turned its eyes from defense to destiny. The wreckage of the fallen fleets became raw material for something new, a ship meant to pierce the boundary between worlds. They called it the Dawnbreaker, built in the ruins of old Cape Canaveral. It was unlike anything that had ever flown. A vessel powered by the living cores of captured Kareth tech, fused with human ingenuity and sacrifice. It would not just travel through space, but through the folds between it. Every continent sent their best, engineers, pilots, dreamers, and those with nothing left to lose. Humanity, once scattered, now labored as one species with one goal: bring their commander home and finish what he began. Mara stood beneath the growing frame of the ship, her hair whipping in the Atlantic wind. He said the Kareth fear us, she said softly to Arjun. Do you think that's true? They should, he said, because the last time they came, we fought for our home. Next time, we fight for everything. Above them, the wrecks of alien ships still drifted like dead stars, reminders of what was lost and what was yet to come. But below, the light of the Dawnbreaker's engines began to glow, a heartbeat reborn. Elias Wren's voice still echoed across the data streams, a ghost in the machine, and in every heart that heard it, the same thought took root. The light never died. It just changed form. Humanity's fire had become eternal, and soon, it would burn through the stars. The Dawnbreaker was unlike anything Earth had ever built. It was not merely a ship. It was a promise forged in grief, bound together by faith, and powered by fragments of an enemy that once sought to erase them. Its frame glowed with veins of alien light, pulsing in rhythm with the human heart that commanded it. And on the day it launched, the world held its breath. All across the globe, people gathered before screens and sky projectors. Cities dimmed their lights to watch. In the deserts, on mountaintops, on ruined shores, humanity turned upward as one. Even the wind seemed to quiet, waiting for the sound of engines that would carry their hope beyond the stars. At the center of the command deck stood Dr. Mara Lynn, now captain of the Dawnbreaker. Her uniform was simple, black with a single silver stripe, but her presence filled the room. The ship hummed beneath her, alive, eager. All systems green, reported Lieutenant Arjun Hale, manning the navigation grid. Energy cores stable, said Engineer Reyes, his hands trembling with awe. Folding drive is charged and ready, Mara exhaled slowly. Then let's bring him home. The engines ignited with a deep resonant roar that rolled across the Atlantic. Light flared, bending the air into waves. The Dawnbreaker rose like dawn itself, through cloud and storm and sunlight. Higher, faster, until it broke free of Earth's embrace. From orbit, the world glowed below them, blue, scarred, but still alive, All stations, prepare for fold transition, Mara said. Her voice was calm, but inside her chest her heart thundered. Engage the veil drive on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. The stars blurred. Space folded inward like paper set aflame. The universe bent and tore around them, colors beyond imagination bleeding into view. For a heartbeat, Mara felt as though she could see through time itself. Faces, memories, dreams flashing like echoes in the dark. Then, silence. The dawnbreaker had crossed through. They emerged into a realm of crimson light and shadow, a place between worlds, where reality shimmered like molten glass. Massive, translucent shapes floated in the distance, remnants of the Kareth homeworld adrift in their own creation. Towers of light twisted endlessly, and from within faint whispers drifted through the void. This isn't space, Arjun whispered. It's alive. It's their hive dimension, Mara said softly.
Where they grow, where they command.
The source of their fleets. The ship's sensors flickered with impossible readings. Energy signatures pulsed like heartbeats all around them. And in the far distance, half shrouded by fog, they saw it. A sphere of blinding light bound in chains of shadow. Reyes's voice trembled. That has to be the core, the place he spoke of. And Elias, Mara whispered. He's inside that. The dawnbreaker began its descent toward the sphere. As they drew closer, alien constructs stirred. Vast, graceful creatures of light and metal, their forms shifting like wings of fire. They moved to intercept, their eyes burning with blue flame. We've got company, Arjun said, gripping the controls. Then let's introduce ourselves, Mara answered. The dawnbreaker roared forward. Cannons flared with searing brilliance, cutting through the Veil's guardians. The ship moved like a living thing, each strike guided by instinct and memory, as though Elias himself were still with them. Inside the storm of combat, Mara's voice stayed calm. Keep formation tight. Target the bindings around the core. The alien construct screamed soundlessly, unleashing torrents of energy that tore at the dawnbreaker's shields. The hull groaned, sparks flew, but the ship did not yield. Every time the light dimmed, human hands pulled it back to life, and then a sound. A heartbeat echoing through the comms. Mara, her breath caught.
Elias?
Static filled the air, but the voice came again. Faint, broken, but real. You shouldn't have come. The core is collapsing. It'll consume everything. Tears welled in her eyes. We didn't come to run. We came to finish this. Together. The sphere pulsed violently, its light swelling until it swallowed the horizon. Within the glow, shapes moved. Kareth warforms, ancient and immense, guarding their dying god. The crew stared in awe and fear. Elias's voice came once more, soft and urgent. The Kareth were never gods. They were prisoners of their own creation. The hive feeds on their memories, their will. If we destroy the core, they all die, but so do I. Mara's voice broke. There has to be another way. There isn't, Elias said. But maybe there's something better. If you link the dawnbreaker's drive to the core, it might stabilize. You can save your world and end theirs. I'll hold the connection, Arjun shouted over the alarms. Mara, if we do that, the fold drive will burn out. We won't make it home. She looked around the bridge, at the faces of those who had given everything, who had built this ship from ashes and dreams. And she smiled. We weren't meant to go home, she said. We were meant to make sure there's a home left. She placed her hand on the control sphere. Elias, we're with you, always. The dawnbreaker's engines flared brighter than any sun. Threads of light connected the ship to the core, weaving through the veil. The alien realm shuddered, its foundations unraveling. Through the fire and chaos, Mara saw him, just for a moment, Elias, standing within the sphere, his form half light, half shadow, smiling at her through the storm. Tell them, he said, his voice steady, that the stars are ours now. The core exploded. Light swallowed everything. For a heartbeat, all of creation stood still. Then the veil tore open, sending a wave of radiance surging through the galaxy. The Kareth fleet still orbiting Earth shuddered, their lights dimming one by one. Across the night sky, alien ships fell silent, drifting like ghosts into the void. Humanity's vengeance had reached beyond the stars. The dawnbreaker was gone, but its light, its message, remained. Every sensor on Earth picked it up, a pulse of warmth, of energy spreading through the cosmos like a heartbeat. Mara's final transmission echoed through the networks of the world. He's free. We're free, and we are not alone anymore. The people of Earth looked up once more, seeing new constellations where wreckage had once glowed. The war was over, but the dawn they had kindled was only beginning. The night was quiet again. For the first time in living memory, the skies above Earth were clear. No flames, no armadas, no falling wreckage. Just stars, endless, bright, and still. Years had passed since the dawnbreaker vanished through the veil. The world had changed. Cities that once lay in ruin now glimmered with light. Forests had begun to grow again over old battlefields. Oceans that had been dark with ash shimmered blue beneath the sun. Humanity, for the first time in centuries, was not at war. But peace did not mean stillness. From the ashes of the Earthforge Coalition rose something greater, the Stellar Accord, a union of all nations, all peoples, bound by the memory of those who had given their lives for the stars. They carried no flags, no borders, only one emblem, a flame encircled by wings. Glowing at the heart of every ship and city, it was the mark of the Dawnbreaker, the mark of Elias Wren and Mara Lynn, Lieutenant. Arjun Hale, now Admiral Hale, stood aboard the bridge of the first vessel built under the Accord's banner, the Sol Reclaimer. Its hull was black and silver, its engines thrumming with a new kind of energy, born from the lingering pulse the Dawnbreaker had left behind. He gazed out at the stars, hands clasped behind his back. "We've mapped 100 worlds," he said quietly, "and on every one we've found their ruins, the Kareth's worlds burned and silent. Whatever they were, they're gone." Engineer Reyes, now older, smiled faintly beside him. "Ghosts, maybe, like we once were," Arjun nodded. "Ghosts that finally let go." He turned to the communication officer. "Status on the resonance array?" "Active, sir." The pulse still travels outward, stronger every cycle. That pulse, Elias's final heartbeat, the echo of the Dawnbreaker, had never faded. It rippled through the fabric of space, marking the places it touched with faint auroras and whispers of warmth. Wherever it went, human ships followed, charting new paths, building new homes, and everywhere they found signs of life, some new, some ancient, but none as dangerous as the Kareth. Whatever force had bound those invaders had broken for good, and humanity had inherited the silence they left behind. Arjun looked out across the void, his reflection shimmering against the stars. He still heard Mara's voice sometimes, soft, steady, promising that the fire would never die. He often wondered if, somewhere beyond the folds of space, she and Elias still watched. He hoped they did. The bridge doors opened, and a group of young cadets entered, fresh recruits, their eyes wide with awe as they took in the view. Arjun smiled. "First time seeing deep space?" A girl with golden hair nodded. "It's beautiful, sir. Hard to believe this is what they fought for." "It's exactly what they fought for," he said gently. "Not the beauty, but the choice. The chance to make it beautiful again." He gestured to the expanse before them. "Every star you see has a story. Some burned out long before we were born. Some are just beginning. That's what we are now, part of the story. The ones who kept the flame alive." The cadets listened in silence, the hum of the ship surrounding them like a heartbeat. Then, the comms officer's voice broke the stillness. "Admiral, we're detecting something, beyond the outer rim. A signal." Arjun turned sharply. "Origin? Unknown. But it matches the Dawnbreaker's last transmission code." For a moment, no one breathed. Arjun's heart pounded as he leaned over the console. The signal was faint, barely there, a ghost in the data. But it pulsed with a familiar rhythm, one he had heard before. "Elias," he whispered. Reyes looked up, eyes wide. "Is it him?" "Maybe," Arjun said. "Or maybe it's the echo of what they left behind." He smiled, the weight of years softening into wonder. "Either way, it means one thing. They're still with us." The Sol Reclaimer turned toward the edge of the galaxy, engines lighting the dark with gold. Behind it, the fleet followed, hundreds of ships, each carrying the mark of Earth, each burning with the same relentless fire that had saved their world. As they sailed into the unknown, Arjun spoke softly to the stars. "You thought we were small. You thought we were fragile, but we learned from the dark, and now the dark learns from us." He straightened, his voice steady, proud. "We are the children of a world that refused to die. We are the light that never went out. and we remember those who lit the way. Far behind them, Earth turned slowly beneath its sun, surrounded by quiet, orbiting lanterns, drifting remnants of the old wars, glowing softly like eternal candles in the void. And farther still, beyond sight, something stirred, two faint figures walking hand in hand through the endless light. Elias and Mara together at peace, watching, smiling, their voices carried by the eternal pulse whispered across creation. Tell them. The stars belong to humanity now. The fleet vanished into the black, leaving behind trails of light, paths that others would follow, songs that others would sing, and in that infinite silence, the universe itself seemed to bow, not to power, not to conquest, but to the indomitable truth that had shaped every heartbeat, every sacrifice, every dawn since the day the sky first cried fire. Humanity endures. Humanity remembers. Humanity rises.